Hello and welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Sam and I like to talk a bunch of shit and try to make you laugh at the same time. If you are not new, thank you so much for coming back. As always, I appreciate you more than words can say. So I'm going to be covering Scentsy a lot in the next couple of weeks because I have hit the mother load of Scentsy trainings and I feel like the covers need to be peeled back from Scentsy because it's often referred to as like the safe MLM. They come across very genuine and I don't know the word I'm looking for, but they aren't as harsh as the MLMs that we see so often, like Monat and Q Sciences and things like that, where they're loud. Not that they're not loud about recruiting, but they have a specific way of really pulling people in. And I think it's time that they get exposed for that. So I recently reacted to a call where these consultants, these Scentsy consultants at the top of the line, revealed what percentage of their paycheck was from their team, from their downline. And most of them had less than 10% that came from their personal sales. I'll just say that. I will link that video in the description if you want to go and watch that one next. This video is going to be all about the Scentsy consultants on the same team that are preparing to go to Scentsy Family Reunion in last year. So this was 2022. Scentsy Family Reunion hasn't happened yet for this year. That will be coming up in July. So I'll be keeping my eye out about all of that stuff. But if you're not familiar with Scentsy or Scentsy Family Reunion, first let's recap about what Scentsy is. Scentsy is a multi-level marketing company, also known as an MLM or network marketing company, which means they make their money primarily off of recruiting people, in my opinion. They run similarly to a pyramid scheme with a product to cover that up, of course, in my opinion. They're known as the wickless candle. They have scent warmers is what they're called. They have a light bulb and you put the wax in the top. There's a dish and it melts the wax. So you can have your house smelling good without the flame, like me back here. They also have an array of other scent related items, kids products, pet products, home products, skincare products. There's all of the things now. Basically, anything that you can think of that could have a scent added to it, they make that. Now, Scentsy Family Reunion is something that happens every year, and it's their version of a convention. That's what it is. It's an MLM convention. They call it Scentsy Family Reunion to make it feel more intimate and make you have more of that FOMO, of course, in my opinion. But that is what we're going to be talking about today. This is what these consultants are talking about on this. It's called the Thursday shift. They are getting ready to go to Scentsy Family Reunion 2022. So, but with all of that said, let's get into it. Without further ado, here we go.
Down like 3 rows.
Hey, why is she
That's
not
weird.
Hi, welcome to Thursday Night Shift.
We're here.
Here. Yeah, no, I keep doing this weird thing where I go to stream it live to Facebook and for some reason I click leave meeting instead of got it. I don't know why that's been a thing for me lately. So I move around a little bit, but yes, welcome to Thursday Night Shift. We this week decided that, everybody's really busy. A lot of things are going on. We've all kind of been receiving different questions. We know within the Scentsy community, everybody's kind of been receiving different questions for those that are attending different SFR events, whether it's virtual or in person. And so just because this is kind of time that we had dedicated to be all together, we figured tonight we would talk through some SFR prep, some different things that you guys can know, because we know there's a lot of first-time attendees that have never gotten to go. Or for many of you, maybe you went once and now you're going again. And it's also a whole new experience several years later. And so that's kind of what our topic's going to be tonight. Make sure that if you have any team members that are going, or if you have anybody that needs to see this video, you share that with them, you tag them on the Facebook Live, because we know that one of the things we were kind of talking about is that we know that there's a lot of people that never got the opportunity to even really travel before Scentsy. And so while some people may be very seasoned travelers, there may be some people that have never gotten a plane before, and that's really scary to them. So we have all different levels, I guess, of travel or experience. And so that's kind of why we wanted to touch base on this tonight. And if you have any questions or you've heard questions from your team members, please drop them in the chat and we're going to run through those. While you guys are tagging your team and inviting and everybody's hopping on the live, we decided that our question tonight would be either what was your first SFR or your favorite SFR and why? So who wants to start us out with that? JP.
I'll go first.
technically I could have gone to like, was it 1 or 2 before I went to my first one? But my first one was Shine in '09 in Salt Lake City. So I think that's a lot of excitement for returning back to Salt Lake because it was the first for a lot of people, and that was in 2009. And I came home from that event talking about, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. My husband had no idea, like, what's a director, what's this? And he was like, I don't know, whatever it is, though, whatever all that stuff means, it sounds great because you sound excited. So Shining in '09 will always be very special to me for that reason. Callie, you're next.
So my actual first SFR, mine was very different, was actually also Salt Lake City, Shine on 99, but I was not really fully involved in Scentsy yet. And I wasn't a consultant really with Scentsy yet. My mom had started our business. As many of you know, we totally focus on the legacy aspect of your Scentsy business. And so my mom was a consultant and I lived in Salt Lake City, and it was in Salt Lake City. I actually got to meet Jen at that first one for the very first time. And my mom was actually won a car that year. They did a fun little drawing where they, for like recruits and stuff, you got something. So I went to an awards night, and that was my first Scentsy experience. And yeah, she won a car. And so that was probably pretty freaking cool. I think that was my favorite. And then I did everything from 2010 on. We've gone to all the things. Jen, why don't you go next?
Oh, sorry. I was hiding my microphone with the chat. So one really cool thing about first of all, you guys, I have not showered and I've been camping, and this is what I look like. So excuse me the way I look tonight. But one really cool thing about what Callie just said, when Becca won the car, she actually sold the car. Is that right? She sold the car and used the money, or did something. Maybe didn't take the car.
She took the money and she ended up paying for rooms and some.
Yes. And bought everybody these cool necklaces. And we always remember those charm necklaces. Some of you will remember where we had like the director, whatever your title was hanging from your necklace. So that was really cool. So that was, honestly, that was one of my favorite moments too, was when they called Becca's name and we were all like, oh my gosh, we know her. Like, this isn't like, it's totally Becca. Okay, my second favorite was when they announced that we were going to Africa. So that was like, yes, look, Callie's holding it right there. They announced that we got to go to Africa. I absolutely love that. And I couldn't tell you what SFR that was. But then my third, I'm telling you my 3 favorite moments. That's what this has turned into. My third was when they did the 10-year anniversary, Scentiversary, whatever they called it. And they recreated, like, they Colette and Carol walked out of the shipping container on stage. And it was the coolest thing ever. So
if you're not familiar with the Scentsy shipping container, I mentioned it in one of my first videos. Please, for the love of God, don't watch that. I will be making a new Scentsy deep dive. But Scentsy has a shipping container, and that is where the 2 women that started Scentsy, that before it was an MLM, when they were originally selling it at fairs, they started it and stored everything in the shipping container. And if you go to Scentsy headquarters in Boise, Idaho, they still have that shipping container on a sheep farm filled with like the original wax stuff, which is kind of creepy to me. And when I was in Scentsy, I thought it was so cool. But now that I see pictures of people going to visit the shipping container and taking pictures with the shipping container, it makes me a little uncomfortable. I'm like, who's to say somebody's not going to come and just shove everybody in there and lock the door? It's creepy. I'm sorry.
Melissa.
As you talk through those moments, I'm like, oh my gosh, yes, that was a great moment, and that was a great moment, and you get a car. And no, my first was Salt Lake City, so I'm excited to return. I was Shine in '09. When I went to convention, so I skipped my first year because I joined in '08, and I hadn't captured the Scentsy vision yet to go to convention in '08. But by Shine in '09, I went to convention, and I still remember it like it was yesterday. I'll tell you my favorite moment and favorite memory of all time of all conventions, I think, was walking into the Salt Palace for the very first general session of my very first convention and seeing the excitement and feeling the energy in the room and seeing some familiar faces in the crowd, and the music was playing, and it just felt like I could take a deep breath, and I had found my place. And I will never forget that as long as I live. So I'm excited to go back to Utah. Heather.
What's interesting is everybody we're hearing from so far is a superstar director, which means they are at the top of the line. They have made it to the top of the pyramid. They have all joined around 2010 or earlier. We are in 2023. And if anybody thinks that they can get to that point in Scentsy today, it's going to be very difficult because of the amount of people that are currently in or have been in Scentsy in the past and do not want to return. So it's very telling. It's very telling that these people on the call are at the top of the pyramid and they got in very, very early.
I can totally second that feeling of the lights, it's dark, the music is so loud, it's pounding in your chest. And the energy in the room, it is overwhelming. It brings you to tears. You literally want to start crying for no reason. And I'm getting goosebumps right now because I know what that feeling feels like. My first reunion was, I had joined in July. I couldn't go. It was too late to go to Salt Lake City. So my first one was in Denver in 2010, Intensity. Here's my warmer from that reunion. I buy the warmers every year to collect add to my little collection.
That's another thing that they always have at their Scentsy Family Reunions is like specific warmers. Like when I went to Nashville, I don't remember what the one was in Vegas. And I don't think I got it. But when I went to Nashville, it was actually really cool and I ended up selling it and I'm kind of bummed. Anyway, it was a microphone, like an old style microphone, and it was super cool. It was also very expensive. So I bought one. I had it for a while and then I sold it. But they always have that and you can only get it at Scentsy Family Reunion. So that's another way of giving you like that FOMO of I have to go or I can't get that thing. Like I can't add it to my huge collection of warmers.
And I'll never forget, I didn't know how it was with different elevations, and I would have like elevation sickness when I was in Denver for the first time because I didn't travel before Scentsy, you guys. I mean, my husband in the military went for duty stations, but I didn't have to get a passport until Scentsy's incentive trips, and that took me to all the different cities, and I haven't missed a reunion since then. Yes, we had 2 virtual. I even went to those. So I'm not going to break this streak at all, but it was incredible. I really liked '09. We had the little pajama parties. Me and 3 team members went, and we had pageant sashes made with little bling because we were from Texas, and I was Miss Havana Cabana. I have my sash over here in the drawer, and we just thought we were the just best group ever. We were 3 people, and it was wonderful. All right, who wants to go next? Jody?
Yeah. So my first one was also Shine in '09. I joined in '08, but convention, or what we call SFR now, was happening at that point. So I went the next year, and I went with 2 other teammates, knowing nothing. I mean, I'd been in a year. You would have thought I would have known who my superstar director was, but we literally kept hearing people say superstar director, this, and we're like, what and who is this supposed superstar director? And what we didn't know, because we were just babies, was Heidi. And that's why we didn't really know her, because she was, more involved in the growing Scentsy portion of the business. But it was great. And
interesting fact, Heidi is one of the CEOs now.
I remember Becca winning the car, because at that point, the name Becca Levi was one of the only people I could identify from afar. And it was because she had come to our local, what was it called? It wasn't World Tour. It was something, Jen. But that's the first time.
It was World Tour.
It
was World Tour originally.
Spring Sprint, wasn't it?
I don't even know, but it was but anyway, I had met Becca there, and there was like 35 of us in the room. So of course I was going to remember her. So when she won the car, and it was Scentsy's 5-year anniversary, it was like this big deal.
Spring Sprint and World Tour that they just mentioned those 2 are both the same thing. They just changed the name. And this is when they travel to different cities, like different major cities, and do like a mini Scentsy Family Reunion in like February, March. I don't know if they still do it, but that is something they were doing when I was in.
I've never experienced anything. I kind of know the woman who just won this car, and that's like a total badass thing that just happened. And I kind of like know her. I felt like some sort of cool vibes because this woman won a car, and it was, and I knew who she was. But Heather is right. There is something about when you walk into a convention for the very first time. It is something that we've often tried to explain to you guys, and we cannot do it because it is something you truly have to experience. And the best way to experience that is, yes, of course you have to be there in person, but you also have to be there and be present for why you are there. Now, for some people, we understand this can be a vacation, but it's also something you've invested your time and money to go for your business. Remember that. Open your mind, open your heart, meet new people, listen to the messages that are coming to you from that stage, maybe from a different perspective than you would have heard it prior to going, because everyone in that room is there for the same reason you are. And there's something incredible about that, just that effect and that feeling. So open up to it, because I'm going to tell you from experience, if you're not a crier or you weren't a crier before Scentsy, I can guarantee you will become one. I can say that. I'm an Enneagram 8, I'm a Leo, and I'm a New Yorker, and I don't leave a convention without swollen eyes. So bring your tissues, bring your open heart, and bring your patience, and you're going to have one of the best experiences of your life. So, Miss Jill?
So same as Heather, I missed Shine in '09, but my first was in Denver in Intensity 2010. Same reasons for all of them. That I walked in like, what am I doing here? I said I was never coming to something like this. All these girls are going to be mean. They're not going to talk to me. They're going to have their cliques. It's going to be like high school. Like, I had all these preconceived things. Now, Jen and I and a bunch of the girls were all from the same state. And even then I was like, I'm not talking to anyone. They're going to be mean. I'm not doing this. She ran up to me. It was like instant. I had like instant family. It was completely opposite of anything that I had ever experienced. It was just life-changing, honestly. And then we had, I don't remember what the theme was for opening session. It was where the truck was there, and it was filled with like, hey, it was like a bonfire, right? Like a, whatever it was. And Jen ran up to me and she was like, oh my God, you're here. You want to meet Colette? I'm like, wait, what's happening? What's going on? And you guys know Jen, she moves about 100 miles an hour. So you don't have time to say no. She grabbed my hand, ran up. Next thing I know, I'm standing in front of Colette and I almost pooped my pants, literally. I mean, I'll never forget that moment, because it was just, I went in with all these preconceived ideas. So one, please don't do that. Like, just open your heart, be prepared to meet people. I'm an introvert. Like, I was an only child. I'm okay with being by myself, but I expected it to be a lot different. But my actual, besides the first one, your first one's always amazing because it's just new and exciting. But still, I go back to Nashville, the Nashville reunion, because I loved the fact, like Jody said, some people treat it as a vacation. So sometimes when the location is too big, like Vegas and Orlando, everyone kind of like scatters. And Nashville, for me, because the hotel and the convention center was all connected, I felt like everybody stayed together. And when everyone's together like that, there's just an electricity, and you get to see everybody and you feel like just connected. And it was just that, it's just that Scentsy spirit. So that was probably my favorite besides my first one, but there's nothing like it. I for all the same reasons, these guys, you leave there smiling, you leave there excited, you get a burst of Scentsy energy to like re-energize your business, and there's just nothing like it. So if you aren't going, start saving your pennies right now to go next year. And if you are going, just be ready and prepared, and it'll be the best experience you've ever had.
In other words, they reignite the ones that are thinking of leaving to get back into it. That actually happened to me in Vegas. I think I was almost just like, screw this, I don't want to do it anymore. Went to Scentsy Family Reunion and then came back and stayed with Scentsy for another like year and a half, because they amped everybody up so much that you forgot how you felt before you got there, which isn't really a great thing.
I love that you said that if, you aren't going this year and you're still hanging out with us, like, to save your pennies for next year, because absolutely, like, if you can start saving now, it makes a big, huge difference, putting a little bit aside so that when registration opens and they say where we're going, you can start looking at your hotels, you can start looking at airline, because we will find out where we're going at the end, or awards night Friday, because it's a little different this year. We should find out Friday where we're going to be, or sometime this next coming week. So it'll be very, very exciting. Does anybody have any guesses? Maybe you can throw those in the chat. I have a couple guesses. I honestly don't know. But I'm not going to throw mine out there because if it is right, I did that once. Actually, when it was announced it was in Salt Lake City, I just said, I really want it to be Salt Lake City. Heather and I were standing there with Kevin Kirkpatrick, and he's like, shh.
Yes.
I'm like, oh, that's where we're going? Really?
Now we know. It was blown.
No
I'm
idea.
gonna just
We're
keep saying
crossing our
Hawaii,
fingers for
Hawaii,
Charlotte.
Hawaii, and Hawaii, and try to manifest our next reunion to Hawaii. So that's what I'm gonna say, because I would love to go there, but I don't know that that's gonna happen.
It's in Charlotte, not Hawaii. Charlotte, North Carolina, which is interesting. I don't know if you've ever noticed, but drop it in the comments if you have. All of the MLMs that do conventions are typically doing them in the same city. So I know that Awakened Kickstart, their little convention that they just had was in Charlotte. I think there was another one in Charlotte, and now Scentsy is in Charlotte. It's very interesting. And I have to look further into that. I wonder why that is.
We're crossing our fingers for Charlotte since we missed that one last time. And it's literally like 3 hours door to door for me. So I'm crossing my fingers selfishly for that.
Well, that was going to be my little guess, only because maybe we're recycling contracts that we missed. I don't know. We'll see what happens on that. But okay, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to talk through again. If you have any questions, please drop them in the chat. And if we miss them, then please let us know. But we're kind of just going to walk through, because I think a lot of times when you don't know what to expect, it gets a little anxiety, right? And where you kind of start. I think the first thing to start with would be Jody, and like kind of how do you get ready to go and what do you do, and maybe some of the things you should bring to be comfortable and all that fun jazz.
All right. Y'all already know you come here every week. I'm a little bit crazy, and tonight I'm feeling a little extra crazy because I truly am. My family chat's calling me. Please hold. They know Thursday night, 8:00, I have shift. They still call. Anyway, I'm super excited. So normally I kind of procrastinate on the packing thing because there's a lot of prep work that goes into leading up to SFR. I don't know what's wrong with me, but I'm done. And I'm not saying that to pat myself on the back, but I'm a little bit patting myself on the back because I'm done early. I'm done with all the prep. Y'all, I'm packed. I think I'm excited. I am packed. Everything is in there that I need. And so I figured, while I'm coming on here tonight, we're going to talk a little bit about SFR. Let me show you a few things that we packed that maybe you don't think about. And especially if this is your first SFR, I hope that you find some of these tips and tricks helpful. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to drop you guys a Canva link. It's the only way I know how to really share this, but this way you can also use it if you want to edit it for your team, which you could, or you can just look at it and pack, get some of the ideas that are off of that packing list. So the link is there for that. If anybody wants to throw it over on Facebook, you guys can. So, all right, I'm super excited to share with you guys how you should travel, what you should take as far as a carry-on. I don't like to carry a lot of stuff, and me taking a full-size suitcase is kind of a big deal. The only reason I'm taking a full-size suitcase is, I'll tell you later. Just hold on. But anyway, this is how you want to pack. When you're traveling, you want to make sure that you are representing yourself. And how you present yourself is how you represent yourself. So be careful and choose wisely when you're traveling. Do you want to be seen as a little bit more of a professional businessman or woman, or more of like that crazy, come at you, over the top, Scentsy lady pusher, wax pusher lady. So you want to definitely represent yourself and your brand well. And so when you travel, you can do that with subtle things like a backpack that says Scentsy. You might, I'm not saying put all of these things or carry all of these at once, because that might send you over the top, but these are just little ways that you can represent your brand with a Scentsy logo, whether it's a shirt or a backpack or some of the sling backpacks, purses, whatever you want. I love scent packs on my backpacks. And Melissa, I don't know if you remember, Melissa's least favorite scent is one of my most favorite scents, and it's Jammy Time. And we're standing outside of, I don't remember what convention it was, but we're waiting for our airport ride. And she's like, who smells like that? Her and Autumn were looking at me, and I'm like, well, I didn't too. My God, what is it? It was my Jammy Time scent pack on my bag, and the fact that I'd washed my clothes in it. And now they have to get into the backseat of a car with me with the most hated fragrance that I absolutely love, and they're dying in the backseat. So this really does work, y'all. This is a great way to advertise, because people are going to be sitting next to you in the airport, on the bus, in the airplane, and you're going to smell better than 99.9% of the other passengers. So be prepared. If you're going to be branding yourself in any of these fashions, you want to make sure that you have marketing material ready. But before
What about allergies? Like, are we thinking about anybody with allergies at this point? Or are we just saying all the people with allergies? So when you're going on an airplane in a small area, please don't bring a scent pack or a scent circle that's going to scent the entire cabin of the airplane. That can be very problematic, ma'am. Don't listen to that. If you are a Scentsy consultant and you fell onto this video somehow, please do not do that. Please don't do that.
we get there, I want to show you a few other things that you might have on you. If you are, well, if you're traveling, I think you should always have a portable fan from Amazon because they're adorable. And you can put your name on them. You don't want to be hot. You can have body spray and room spray, of course. Those go right here. I never travel without a room spray. You'll never catch me without one because, quite honestly, I don't like to be around stinky people or stinky bathrooms. So I'm going to light it up with some Scentsy spray. So always have your room spray ready. Another thing I learned, and I've gotten pictures of this with a flight attendant, is I carry my Scentsy Go. Now, it has fresh pods in it, but I don't necessarily need to turn this on. But if I feel the mood is right and I might be able to pick up a sniffer, turn your Scentsy Go on. Don't forget the charger because now it doubles as your wall fan in your hotel room.
She said, I've gotten my picture of this with the flight attendant. Why? That's strange.
And I have gotten plenty of customers for carrying my Scentsy Go with me when I travel. Of course, on the inside, you're going to want to have things like catalogs. That's a no-brainer, right? We want at least one catalog so we can act like we're working on the plane or in the airport with a tablet of some sort so you can do your work. Now, you also need to make sure you're branded. We talked about that. So a couple of you guys know I made these packets a few weeks ago when I was on a flight for all of the flight attendants. This is not it. This is just a sample of it. I actually don't have any left. But this is something that you can hand out to all of the flight attendants, and it's packed with different types of samples from Scentsy Fresh to Scentsy Soak, wax samples, candy for them, just something nice and fun.
I remember when I was in Scentsy, they would tell you to like have these like little goodie bags or scent circles or something to hand out to like your, oh my God, I used to do this, to hand out to like your waiter or your housekeeping staff, now flight attendants. And it's so cringe. Like, please don't do that. I did that. Never flight attendants, though. I never did that to flight attendants. I did leave like scent circles with my tips for waiters and my tips for housekeeping staff. And looking back, I apologize if you were any of those people. I'm really sorry. I won't do it again.
This is a great way to to show your appreciation for what they do and the fact that they constantly have showed up through all the last couple of years and the mess that they've gone through. It's also a good advertisement for you because now that you've expressed you don't want anything in return. When I hand it to them, I say, this is a gift for you. If you like it, great. If you don't, whatever. But this shows them multiple things about who you are as a businesswoman. Another thing I like to always carry, and I showed you guys this 100 times, and this is actually something Jen Audette, I saw her do once years ago, was the scent circles in her wallet. So I never leave anywhere without scent circles. They have a join QR code on the front with a message about how nice it was to meet them with all of my contact info on the inside. So I love to
It was nice to meet you, even though we didn't even really meet.
hand these out for good customer service. I love to hand these out to great servers. I know Austin at our last reunion, Heather and I pre-made up postcards and we put a label on the back of them with a message. And then we left room for us to write a message to all of our servers. So every time we went in, we left them a postcard with a personal handwritten message on it, depending on what we spoke about. We helped one guy save some money, I think, for a dream vacation. We leave that with our tip. It has our information. Not every time do we leave our information, you guys, will you get a return on your investment. I wish that was the case, but there's only one way to guarantee that you'll get something, and that's to do something. And honestly, people might look at this and say $3 for a scent circle. I don't pay for these. I use host credit for almost all of these and or the clearance section. These are great business cards. I don't make business cards anymore. I usually use a scent circle. I have hundreds of them usually coming in every few months, and I label them up to go out. So again, these are great just to have. They're always on me, but when I travel, I purposely make about 20, and I make it a goal to get rid of all 20. So that should always be in your whether you're traveling in a carry-on or not, I believe that this is a great way to attract business.
Oh my God, I'm literally nauseous because thinking about the fact that I used to do this makes me sick.
And then of course you're going to want to make sure you have Lysol because, well, COVID. I mean, right? We want to wipe down our seats. This is a great idea. Trust me. You're going to want to do that. And Jen Audette, I thought you would be happy to know that you can't travel anywhere. Hang on. It's in this other pouch. Oh, maybe I didn't move it, Jen. My toothbrushes, my little disposable ones. You can't go anywhere without those little placards. And I think I just moved them into my other backpack, but I have them anyway. Oh, they're right here. I already took them out. So I thought this would make Jen proud. So just when you're getting around to packing, pack what's going to make you comfortable in your carry-on, but also make sure that you are representing yourself, your brand, and you're representing Scentsy in a very positive light, because you're not just representing yourself, you're representing all of us. And it can sometimes be overwhelming when thousands of consultants just descend upon a city. So be the best version of yourself, be the best version of a Scentsy consultant you can be. Oh, I forgot to tell you about my suitcase. Here's a couple of tricks for you. If you have your stickers with your face on it, put it all over your suitcase. It identifies it, makes it easy for you to identify. You never come in contact with the people who touch this suitcase. Never, except the person who takes it, which you're already giving them a sample pack. But every other person who touches this bag will see my face, my website, and I'm going to add some QR codes to that. So that's a positive. I always pack scissors for SFR, and a couple other random things that I pack would be a sound fan or sound machine, small fan, a power tower. Do you guys know what I mean? Like it has extra outlets. If you're sharing a room with other men or women, you want extra outlets. So pack that. I always pack a battery charger for your cell phone. You will die in session. I think Jamie was holding up a power tower.
You want to know why your battery dies in session? Is because they don't give you enough time to be in your room to charge your phone all the way. I remember both times I went to Scentsy Family Reunion, I was exhausted and my phone was constantly dead. So I had to use, luckily one of the people I was with had a portable charger. So I was able to use that throughout the trip. But literally, I think the whole time I was there, I probably got 8 hours of sleep total. And you're there for like 4 or 5 days. So I remember I'd get back to the room at like midnight by the time you get back up there after everything is said and done, and you have to be back down there. They usually have things ready to go, like we had 5Ks, we had to get on the buses, or certain sessions that started really early, you had to be there by like 7 o'clock. Everybody was rooming together, so typically there were 4 people in a room of 4 women that have to get showered and dressed and ready to go. You are sleeping about 2 or 3 hours a night. And that is why you want to bring a portable charger, because your phone is going to be dead because you don't have enough time to even charge your brain. Editing Sam here. Surprise, surprise. This reaction got a little bit too long. Now, if you are watching this in real time, you may have to wait a few hours before part 2 comes out. So make sure that you're subscribed and you have the bell notifications on. If you're watching this after everything has already been posted, I will have part 2 of this video linked right here, and I will see you over there.